Picture this. Two people, same income, same amount of debt, $45,000 each. One chooses the debt snowball method, the other, the avalanche. 3 years later, one of them paid $3,200 less in interest and is completely debt-free. The other, still making payments. The method you choose doesn't just affect your wallet, it affects your entire life. Today, I'm breaking down the real math, the real psychology, and the real cost of getting this decision wrong. Because what your bank doesn't want you to know could save you thousands. Stick around. Hey, I'm Sean, and if there's one thing I've learned about debt, it's this. The system profits when you're confused, and you profit when you're strategic. That's my philosophy. That's what we do here. We don't follow conventional wisdom just because some financial guru in an expensive suit says so. We analyze, we question, we find what actually works for real people with real lives. If you're tired of generic financial advice that doesn't factor in your actual reality, your stress, your psychology, your specific situation, you're in the right place. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and turn on notifications, because the information I'm sharing today could literally save you thousands of dollars. And I drop videos like this every week that the traditional financial industry would rather you not see. All right, let's get into it. It's 2026, and here's something that should make you uncomfortable. The average American middle-class household is carrying over $155,000 in debt. Not just the wealthy, not just the poor, the middle class. People with jobs, people who did everything right. Let me introduce you to Jessica and Marcus, composite characters based on dozens of real people I've talked to. Jessica is 34, works in healthcare administration in Ohio, makes about $58,000 a year. She's got $23,000 in student loans, $8,500 on 3 credit cards, a $19,000 car loan, and she just financed a new HVAC system for $6,500. Total debt is $57,000, not including her mortgage. Marcus is 29, works in IT support in North Carolina, makes around $62,000. He's got $31,000 in student loans, $7,200 across 2 credit cards, and a $15,000 car loan. Total, $53,200. Neither of them is irresponsible. Neither is living some extravagant lifestyle. They're just living. And debt has become the price of admission to a middle-class life in America. Here's what keeps them up at night, and maybe you can relate. It's not just the debt itself. It's the feeling of running on a treadmill, making payments every month but never feeling like they're getting anywhere. Jessica pays about $1,100 a month toward her debts. Marcus pays around $950, and yet both feel stuck. The question isn't whether they should pay off debt. They know they should. The question is how. And this is where 2 methods dominate the conversation, the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. Your choice between these 2 methods isn't just a financial decision. It's a psychological one, a strategic one. And for some people, it's the difference between freedom in 3 years or 5 years, between paying $3,000 extra in interest or not. So let's break down both methods like nobody else will, with real numbers, real psychology, and real talk about what actually works. The debt snowball method was popularized by Dave Ramsey, and I'll give credit where it's due. For millions of Americans, this method has worked. Here's how it works. Step 1. List all your debts from smallest balance to largest, regardless of interest rate. Step 2. Make minimum payments on everything except the smallest debt. Step 3. Throw every extra dollar you have at that smallest debt until it's gone. Step 4. Once it's eliminated, take that payment amount and roll it into the next smallest debt. Step 5. Repeat until you're debt-free. Let's see this in action with Jessica's debt. HVAC loan. $6,500 at 9.9% APR, $185 per month minimum. Credit card 1, $2,800 at 22.9% APR, $84 per month minimum. Credit card 2, $3,200 at 19.9% APR, $96 per month minimum. Credit card 3, $2,500 at 24.9% APR, $75 per month minimum. Car loan, $19,000 at 6.5% APR, $365 per month minimum. Student loan, $23,000 at 5.2% APR, $295 per month minimum. Total minimum payments, $1,100 per month. Using the snowball method, Jessica attacks the HVAC loan first, not because it has the highest interest rate, it doesn't, but because it's the smallest balance. Let's say she has an extra $200 a month to put toward debt. She'd pay $385 toward that HVAC loan while paying minimums on everything else. In about 18 months, that HVAC loan is gone. Now here's the magic, the psychological magic. She takes that $385 and rolls it into the next smallest debt. Now she's paying $469 toward credit card 3. With each debt she eliminates, the amount she can throw at the next one grows. The snowball gets bigger as it rolls downhill. The emotional win. Here's what the pure math people miss. Jessica gets to experience a win in 18 months. Not 3 years, not 5 years, 18 months. She gets to call her credit card company and say, "I'm paying this off, close the account." She gets to see a debt disappear from her spreadsheet. She gets to feel progress. And that feeling? That momentum? For many people, it's the difference between giving up and pushing through. I've seen people try to be mathematically optimal with their debt payoff, stare at a spreadsheet for 2 years, seeing barely any progress, and just stop. They get demoralized. They start thinking, what's the point? The snowball method fights that demoralization with quick wins. The drawback. But, and this is important, you pay for those psychological wins with real dollars. Because Jessica isn't prioritizing her highest interest debt first, she's paying more in interest over time. How much more? We'll get to the exact numbers when we compare both methods head to head, but it's not insignificant. Who should use the snowball method? If you're someone who has struggled to stick with debt payoff plans before, needs to see progress to stay motivated, has multiple small debts that could be eliminated quickly, values emotional momentum over mathematical optimization, then the snowball might be your method. But let me be clear, it's not the cheapest method, it's the most psychologically supportive method. Now let's talk about the Debt Avalanche method, the one that mathematically saves you the most money. Here's how it works. Step 1. List all your debts from highest interest rate to lowest. Step 2. Make minimum payments on everything except the highest interest debt. Step 3. Throw every extra dollar you have at that highest interest debt until it's gone. Step 4. Once it's eliminated, roll that payment amount into the next debt with the highest interest rate. Step 5. Repeat until you're debt-free. Let's reorganize Jessica's debts by interest rate. Credit card 3, $2,500 at 24.9% APR, $75 per month minimum. Credit card 1, $2,800 at 22.9% APR, $84 per month minimum. Credit card 2, $3,200 at 19.9% APR, $96 per month minimum. HVAC loan, $6,500 at 9.9% APR, $185 per month minimum. Car loan, $19,000 at 6.5% APR, $365 per month minimum. Student loan, $23,000 at 5.2% APR, $295 per month minimum. Using the Avalanche method, Jessica attacks credit card 3 first. That 24.9% interest rate is bleeding her dry. With her extra $200 a month, she pays $275 total toward that card. In about 10 months, it's eliminated. Then she rolls that $275 into credit card 1, now paying $369 toward it. With each debt she eliminates, the amount she can throw at the next one grows. The snowball gets bigger as it rolls downhill. The mathematical win. Here's what the avalanche power is. Every dollar you pay toward high-interest debt saves you more money in the long run than paying off low-interest debt. That 24.9% credit card, every month you carry a balance, roughly 2% of that balance is added as interest. On $2,500, that's about $52 a month just in interest. Compare that to her 5.2% student loan. On $23,000, that's about $100 a month in interest. Sounds like more, right? But as a percentage, it's way less. By eliminating high-interest debt first, you stop the bleeding faster. You reduce the total amount of interest you'll pay over the life of your debt payoff journey. The drawback. The avalanche method can feel like you're grinding. Jessica's first debt elimination comes in about 10 months. Not terrible, but not as quick as some snowball scenarios. And here's the psychological challenge. If your highest interest debt is also your largest balance, you could be working on the same debt for years before you see it disappear. Let me give you a different example. Marcus, our IT support guy. His highest interest debt is a credit card with $4,200 at 23.9%. But his second highest, his $31,000 student loan at 6.8%. Using the Avalanche, after he kills that credit card in about a year, he's staring down a $31,000 student loan next. Even with aggressive payments, that's going to take a couple of years to eliminate. That's a long time without seeing a debt account close. For some people, that's fine. They trust the math and keep grinding. For others, that's where motivation goes to die. Who should use the avalanche method? If you're someone who is motivated by numbers and optimization, can stay focused on long-term goals without needing frequent wins, has high-interest debt that's significantly costing you, wants to pay the absolute minimum in total interest, then the avalanche is your method. You're choosing financial efficiency over psychological comfort. And there's nothing wrong with that if you can stick to it.
All right, let's get specific. Let's run both methods for Jessica and see the actual difference. Jessica's debt, $57,000 total. Monthly payment capacity, $1,100 minimums plus $200 extra is $1,300 total. Snowball method. Time to debt freedom, 52 months. 4 years, 4 months. Total interest paid, $14,890. First debt eliminated, 18 months. HVAC loan. Number of debts eliminated in the first 2 years, 3. Avalanche method. Time to debt freedom, 47 months. 3 years, 11 months. Total interest paid, $11,640. First debt eliminated, 10 months. Credit card 3. Number of debts eliminated in the first 2 years, 2. The difference. The avalanche saves Jessica $3,250 in interest and gets her debt-free 5 months sooner. 5 months of freedom, $3,250 in savings. That's not nothing. But let's be honest about what that $3,250 over 4 years actually means in your daily life. It's about $68 per month. Important? Yes. Life-changing? For most middle-class Americans, not really. Now let's look at Marcus, whose debt situation is slightly different. Marcus's debt, $53,200 total. Monthly payment capacity, $950 minimums plus $300 extra is $1,250 total. Snowball method. Time to debt freedom, 49 months. 4 years, 1 month. Total interest paid, $12,350. First debt eliminated, 8 months. Smallest credit card. Number of debts eliminated in the first 2 years, 2. Avalanche method. Time to debt freedom, 46 months. 3 years, 10 months. Total interest paid, $11,890. First debt eliminated, 14 months. Highest interest credit card. Number of debts eliminated in the first 2 years, 2. The difference. The avalanche saves Marcus $1,460 and gets him out 3 months sooner. Here's my slightly rebellious take. The personal finance industry acts like the avalanche method is objectively superior because math. And mathematically, sure, it is. But we're not robots. We're humans with emotions, stress, and lives that don't fit neatly into spreadsheets. If the snowball method keeps you motivated and prevents you from giving up, and the cost is $1,500 to $3,000 over 4 years, that might be the best $1,500 to $3,000 you ever spend. On the other hand, if you're the type who gets more motivated by optimization, by knowing you're doing the most efficient thing possible, then the avalanche is your path. The method that works is the method you'll actually complete. Here's something most financial advice won't tell you. You don't have to pick one method and marry it forever. Let me introduce you to the hybrid approach, what I call the snowball starter, avalanche finisher. Here's how it works. Phase 1, months 1 to 12. Use the snowball method to knock out your smallest 1 to 2 debts quickly. Get those wins, build momentum, prove to yourself that you can do this. Phase 2, month 13 plus, switch to the avalanche method. Now that you've got momentum and confidence, optimize for interest savings. Let's apply this to Jessica. In the first 12 months, she uses the snowball and eliminates her HVAC loan, $6,500. She feels amazing. She's got proof that debt elimination is possible. Then she switches to the avalanche and attacks her highest interest credit cards next, even though they're not the smallest. The result? She gets the psychological boost of the snowball and most of the interest savings of the avalanche. She might pay $12,800 in total interest instead of $11,640, so she loses about $1,160 compared to pure avalanche, but she gains the motivation that might prevent her from quitting. Another strategic tweak: the emotional debt exception. Sometimes there's a debt that's psychologically weighing you more than others, even if the math says to tackle something else first. Maybe it's a loan from a family member. Maybe it's a credit card you opened during a really hard time in your life, and every payment reminds you of that period. If eliminating that debt would give you significant emotional relief, it might be worth prioritizing it, even if it's not the mathematically optimal choice. Your mental health has value. Your peace of mind has value. Not everything that matters can be calculated on a spreadsheet.
Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to hear. Most people fail at debt payoff not because they chose the wrong method, but because they never really commit to either one. They start strong, they make a plan, they get excited, and then life happens. The car breaks down, the kid needs braces, they get invited to a destination wedding, and the plan falls apart. The method, snowball or avalanche, matters way less than these three things. A realistic budget that accounts for your actual life, not some fantasy version where nothing ever goes wrong. An emergency fund, even a small one, so unexpected expenses don't derail your entire debt payoff plan. And behavioral commitment, meaning you've decided, truly decided, that becoming debt-free is worth the temporary sacrifice. Jessica and Marcus, the real-life people they're based on, the ones who succeeded didn't succeed because they picked the right method. They succeeded because they stuck with a method. They automated payments, they found extra income, they said no to things, they stayed focused when it got hard. The avalanche method is the most mathematically efficient path to debt freedom. The snowball method is the most psychologically supportive path to debt freedom. The hybrid approach is the balanced path to debt freedom. But all three require the same thing: you showing up consistently, month after month, even when it's hard. Choose the method that fits your personality, run the numbers for your specific situation, and then commit. Because 5 years from now, you're going to be 5 years older whether you tackle this debt or not. The only question is, will you be 5 years older and debt-free, or 5 years older and still making payments? If this video helped you think differently about your debt payoff strategy, do me a favor, hit that like button so more people can find this information. Subscribe to the channel if you want more real, analytical, no BS personal finance content for actual middle-class Americans, not trust fund kids or crypto bros. And drop a comment. Are you Team Snowball, Team Avalanche, or Team Hybrid? I read every comment, and your experience might help someone else figure out their path. I'm Sean. Remember, the system profits when you're confused, and you profit when you're strategic. Stay strategic. I'll see you in the next one.